The calls are growing for mandatory masks. Many health experts say evidence suggests making them mandatory can reduce the spread of COVID-19 and possibly help prevent a second wave.
Every day there are more studies coming out to show the effectiveness of masks.
Dr. Jennifer Kwan is a family physician and advocate for Masks for Canada. The group wrote this open letter to politicians and medical officers of health calling for a mandatory mask strategy in places like stores, libraries, crowds, and on transit, with exceptions made for young children and people who have health complications. So far, at least 1,200 medical and scientific professionals from across the country have signed it. So what is the evidence that a mandatory mask policy would work? There are lots of studies. For example, this month, a German economic think tank examined regions that made masks mandatory before the entire country adopted the strategy and found they, quote, reduced the daily growth rate of reported infections by 40%. But the study wasn't peer-reviewed.
Every piece of evidence I have seen is somewhat circumstantial, somewhat limited. It's all pointing to the benefits of masks. The problem is we can't do the kinds of controlled experiments that simulate reality to a sufficient degree to be certain. And I think that might be what is holding back some physicians and some medical officers of health from stepping up and saying we must do this.
Even still, epidemiologist Colin Furness would like to see a no mask, no service policy.
I think we could keep a second wave under control. I think it might make the difference between little outbreaks here and there and widespread community spread of COVID.
The Ford government is highly recommending wearing masks, but is stopping short of making them mandatory.
We don't have enough police, enough bylaw officers in the province to police it. I guess you could put the stores in charge. If they don't have a mask, they don't get in. I know a couple big retailers are doing that right now.
If it changes in the future, we may take a different view of it.
Now, there is a downside to masks that everyone needs to be aware of. Epidemiologist Colin Furness warns bacteria and viruses can accumulate on your mask and double every 20 minutes, and that can be dangerous too. He recommends only wearing one when necessary.